Hey y'all, look at this. Can you see my outfit though? My crease out jumper. Listen, today we're going to be doing some serious filming. This is a serious conversation. Yeah, it is still. This is about emotional and psychological abuse. Yeah, how to know when to spot it, like when's the right time to actually try to seek some advice or some help about the abuse. Sometimes you don't know that it is even abuse. The lighting here is a bit rubbish, but these people are gonna come and interrupt my video. But guess what I'm gonna do? Yeah, I'm gonna pause it and I'm gonna come right back in a bit. Right, so 100 people later, one rolled blunt and all of that. Yeah, so what I'm literally, listen, trying to film outside is a massa, especially with the wind and that. It's a bit nuts. Anyway, listen, I've got my notes and that. Alright. Emotional and psychological abuse is something that you need to look up for yourself, because there's different forms of it, and there's different ways that it can manifest itself in one's life. What my point is, I'm going to tell my point from now. Don't become the person that they treat you as. Like, tell the truth and shame the shame in it. Like, don't feel ashamed to tell the truth about what you've been through, because at the end of the day, you didn't put yourself through that. Where is my fruit? You didn't put yourself through it. It wasn't you that did it. And the people that put you through that is the ones that you're meant to tell the truth and shame. Yeah, right. So I got my little fruit here, because guess what? Yeah, this is heavy. This is a heavy subject. Yeah, don't even think about blowing away. Bro, see how nuts it is outside? This is real life, you know. Jeez. So this is how I'm gonna film it. Forget it. Can you see the water? Bruh, I'm struggling, you know. Can you, fuck it, yeah. That's how it's gonna. Broski, you're like, why don't you do this? I'm gonna pause it 1 minute. Alright, now this is what we're gonna start with, yeah. Big men having sex with underage females. Now, it all starts with, this is where it all starts, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, some of these females are our great grandparents and that, innit? And then the cycle continues. So I'm just gonna read it from my paper so I can stick to my point and that. I'm here, but come on, look at that view. Fucking nice, isn't it? Anyway. Y'all heard. So we've got grandfathers. They rape and molest their daughters and their sons. Some of them, all of them end up traumatized children. Some of them end up pregnant. So the ones that got pregnant, some of them get sent away. So if this is in a foreign place, some of them get sent to England, America and places like that. So I'm talking about West Indians. I'm talking about Jamaicans in particular. Jamaican people like to carry on like they don't molest their own children and things like that. These things don't happen in our community as Jamaicans, and they like to brush things under the carpet, innit? But at the same time, when they're brushing things under the carpet, they want to point at other cultures and say, well, this is what they're doing, when the same thing actually happens in our community too. People just don't like to talk about it. So the grandfathers will molest their children, the great grandfathers, which in turn ends up to be our grandparents, which end up having children by their fathers. Some get sent away to England and America with their babies, and some of them, they get shipped and the actual perpetrator keeps the child. So imagine your dad raping you, keeping your child and sending you to England or America away from Jamaica so you don't bring shame on the family. that's not going to produce good offspring, is it? No, not really. So the ones that don't get pregnant, they end up having a very good life or a very bad life. But both still end up having to make a life away from Jamaica. They come to a place where they're hated. They come to a place where their crime is high. They come to a place where there's a class difference. They come to a place where marriage and non-marriage is used as a status in the community. So what happens is our parents, our grandparents end up having our parents. Some of them get married, some of them not. Some of us come from marriage, some of us don't come from marriage. Me personally, on my dad's side, my grandparents were married. On my mum's side, they was not married. I did not see a difference. They're all weird at the end of the day. So then this is where emotional and psychological trauma comes into this subjects that I'm talking about. Yeah, so the children, the traumatized grandparents, end up having children that are born in England that get into the crime, that get into the hate, that get into the class, that get into the marriage situation, that get into the materialism, that get into the Western way of living, and they become westernized and they forget about their home country and they become British, I suppose. Now some of these, because their parents are damaged and because their parents couldn't help them in their emotional and psychological development and their growth, they end up having adults which are in my age group, which have low self-esteem and they haven't emotionally and psychologically evolved from this materialistic state of mind, basically. Yeah, so my point is, tell the truth, innit, and shame the people around you. If you've grown up in a situation where these things have happened to you, today with the technology that we have, you can come out and speak your story. You can change the names, you can do whatever you like, but you can come out and you can say something. You get me, people? You don't have to hold on to the feelings. You don't have to hold on to the trauma. You can let all the trauma go, but it doesn't mean that you can't speak your story. You can't come out and help other people and say, look, it's me, you get me? I've been through such and such and such. And I know that I'm not the only person that's been through such and such and such. So let's come together and help others and protect our children from this cycle. Do you get it? So now, boom, now your parent gets up and leaves. Most of us, our pups gone, come in and out when they please, innit? Then what happens? You either end up having children and staying with your child, or you end up having a child and you do the same thing. Now it falls on the mum to now teach these children not to do that. You get it? Because maybe your mum didn't teach you not to do that because your mum was still hurt and fragile from your dad leaving her. Do you get it? And she wasn't emotionally and psychologically growing forward to say, okay, let me do some research. And honestly, I'm not even going to put them down because we got Google, we got all of these things. They didn't have none of these things. They just had books, and some of these books are hefty, blood. Listen, anthroposophy, psychologically, psychotherapy, all of these words that I should have written down there, right? Yeah, psychotherapy, all of these things. They don't know about them things there. We have these things pushed into our face. ADHD, all of these things. Oh, this tastes so nice. We didn't have none of that. Well, they didn't have none of that. We've got all of that. We've got access to these things so we can teach our children, now look, this is how you behave as a responsible, all-rounded, not to cause harm or loss to others individual. You see it? That's literally the way you're meant to live your life. You're not meant to cause harm or loss to others. So you're not meant to go around, oh, this person don't love me, let me do some spell work on them. No, you don't do things like that, bro, because It's against the rules, isn't it? Anyway, you lot are gonna learn. Anyway, you people that are doing things against the rules, you're gonna learn. But yeah, everybody's been through the struggle. You got Romanian people. Was it them Catholic people? They used to get beaten if they wrote with their left hand. Yeah, you got a lot of things. You need to speak up and tell the truth about these things, and shame these people, these individuals that feel like they can do these things and brush it under the carpet. You get me? Like, date raping women. Yeah, these things in the Jamaican community, they like to carry on like these things don't happen. How are you gonna date rape a young child, put stuff in their drink and take them and then do whatever you please with them? How are you going to do that? And in fact, yeah, how can that happen to a young child and no adult don't say, come, let's go to the police? How can you say that person there, yeah, that's the person there, I woke up with that person on top of me? Why did no one say, come, let's take this person to the police station? No more of that in the black community. No more. If you see something, say fucking something, innit? Save our kids. Anyway, look at this view. Yeah, it's beautiful. When our grandparents came here, some of them came here when there was no more than just 14 and 15. 14 and 15. Sleeping with some of us children had to sleep in the same room as our brothers and sisters and all of this stuff. Some of these things, yeah, and this leads to my subject number 2, siblings having emotions for each other and falling in love with other siblings and that. That if you fall in love with your sibling, yeah, then there's nothing I can personally say to you. You would have to go and talk to a proper actual, like, you need to seek some kind of what you need to do for that situation, and I don't know what. And if you feel like your sibling's in love with you, then I don't know what to say to you, boy. I don't really know what to say on that one there, because that one's tough, innit? If you want to do it back here, then do it back, innit? But if you don't want to do it back here, then I suggest you just don't have no contact with that sibling at all, bruv. If you even get an inkling that your sibling wants to have some kind of sexual relationship with you, you need to just don't chat to that person. Treat them like any other person that you don't want to sleep with, and just block them off. That's what I would say. That's my, you know, that's my take on that one. But listen, you would be surprised at how often this happens, especially with siblings that didn't grow up with each other. That's what I found out the most, because, you know, it's my job to know stuff. You get me? It's my job to research stuff. When I see a problem, it's my, how can I solve this issue? You get me? That's what my point is. So this is me enjoying my day on the one bench, saying, take care, guys, and don't become the person that they say that you are. If you know that you're not a horrible person, don't be horrible, you get me? Continue being kind. It will pay off eventually. They say no good deed goes unpunished, yeah, but forget that shit, you get me? Eventually, all your good deeds will be rewarded, you get me? Nah, I'm just gonna have a little all-round view, yeah, and let you lot see me close up. You get me? It's easy to forgive when this is where you live, innit? It's easy to forgive when this is where you live. Come on, what are you saying? Yeah, yeah, you can come in it, yeah. It's easy. Forgiveness is the easy part. Now it's teaching others how to move on. Get me? It's teaching others how to educate yourself mostly, and teaching others how to, if you feel like that you are not your best self, just remove yourself from the situation and come back when you're feeling better, innit? It's that simple. Now everyone's got to see my nails because I worked hard on them, you get me? And I had to sit that still for like half an hour just to let them dry. But yeah, guys, talk about it. Feel free, innit? As I said, if you want to holler at me, email me, DM me, you know what time it is. Bookie saying Subscribe to my channel. I want to make community posts. Come on. Laters.